You know what Fates did that was really cool? Give personal skills to all the units, not capture units, based on aspects of their character. Like how Obero really hates Norians, so her damage against Norians gets enhanced by the pure, unadulterated power of racism. Or how Arthur is hated by the universe so much that his bad luck spreads to enemies around him. I don't even know how that works. Sure, not all of them were useful, like oh boy, Asugi gaining 4 HP for waiting is more useful than him actually doing something, but they were really cool, and I'm glad that the idea came back into 3 houses and units there got personal skills. So I decided it would be cool if we went back to older games to try and give these personal skills to units as if they came out when skills were a thing. I'm going to start with the 13 men and women of Lyndis' Legion, so without further ado, let's just start with Lyn herself. Lyn, Daughter of Nature. Bonuses from natural terrain tiles, forest, sand, desert, and mountain are doubled. My idea with Lyn was to incorporate her love of the plains and nature into her skill, so this is what I came up with. It helps Lyn do what Lyn wants to do, be a dodge tank that doesn't have to worry about that pesky little 2 base defense stat. The balance here is that it just makes Lyn's strength stronger without really patching her weakness of having the offensive capabilities of a wet paper bag. It does beg the question of how she, a plainswoman, gets stronger in sand, but getting an evasion bonus from being on sand already made no sense, so I think I get a pass on that one. Sain, Flirtatious. Sain gains bonuses as if he had a C support with any female ally. This effect stacks with any C supports he actually has. Sain was an easy character to know what to base his skill on, his unabashed love of the fairer sex. But the thing was, how do I translate a man being horny on main every single day of his life into a combat skill? I figured that using the support bonuses was the best way of translating the idea that Sain is fueled by a woman's love. It's balanced in that there actually aren't as many women in FE7's roster compared to men, so unless you meme into an all-women plus Sain team, it won't be too overpowered. Kent, Caelin's rider. Kent receives no speed and skill penalties when rescuing Lyn. Kent's personality as the ever-loyal knight meant I had to incorporate the land of Caelin into his skill somehow. So, I decided to also take his class into account, and have him effectively be a get-out-of-jail-free card for Lyn. Savior is an incredibly powerful skill, as being able to ferry anyone across the map for free can let some incredible strategies take place with little to no risk. So, having a personal skill that's just a single unit savior sounds strong, but the lack of flexibility should balance it out pretty nicely. Florina, Meekness. Florina gains 3 avoid and 1 crit avoid for every man within 3 spaces of her. Man, Florina was a tough one for me to figure out. Her fear of men is one of her most pronounced character traits, but answer me this. How in the hell do I make a fear of men into a skill that's a buff for the character and not some kind of debuff? The idea I ultimately came up with was being around men puts her on edge, so she's more likely to be ready to dodge an attack or move quickly. Yeah, this is probably the weakest skill I came up with. If you've got a better idea in the comments, let me know. Please, be a hell of a lot stronger than me. Smarter than me, not stronger. Fuck. Will, Friendly Face. Allies within 3 spaces gain a C support bonus from Will. Stacks if they actually support with him. While Will does have a cool backstory with Dart and the journey the 2 of them went on that I could use for some kind of skill, I felt like the main aspect of Will's character is the fact that he's just an all-around really nice, sweet, likable dude. So the idea here is he's just being so friendly that he's making his allies fight harder just by being around them, and they're encouraged by him. His support bonus of the Wind Affinity also gives damage, hit, and avoid, so it's a decent C bonus to give out, and helps make Will a support unit, kinda. Dorcas, Calm Mind. Dorcas gains 15 avoid when he is not the one initiating a round of combat. While Dorcas is often memed for loving his wife and eating some suspicious mutton, the direction I went with is a little bit different. Dorcas, in all of his supports, is a very calm and very composed man, never showing any signs of anger or discontent with anyone. So with that in mind, I designed his skill around the idea that being attacked doesn't rattle him. He's able to keep his calm composure and fight effectively, which, given some of the shit that can be hitting you in a Fire Emblem game, being able to keep a level head is a more valuable skill than I think a lot of people give credit for. Sarah, Loudmouth. Allies within 3 spaces of Sarah lose 5 hit and avoid. Enemies within 3 spaces lose 15 hit and avoid. Alright, now this is a fun one, because Sarah's most noticeable shtick is that she is incredibly annoying to have to be around. So, the idea is everyone around her, both friend and foe, get annoyed when they're in her presence, and they fight worse because of it. The fun part is it's actually able to be played around by, say, having an enemy 3 spaces away from her, and then attacking them with a unit from 4 spaces away. And before you ask, no, I did not steal this idea from Flirtatious and Vestoria Saga, available on Steam now for $20. I have no idea why you would possibly think that. Patreon, giving me money. Gives FEMS Paint money in exchange for benefits. Benefits scale at $3, $5, and $7 a month. For this skill, I wanted to start monetizing my work, so I opened up a way for my fans to give me money in exchange for some benefits. But not everyone can give a lot of money, you know? So I decided to scale it from a low amount of $3 a month to accommodate people that want to donate but aren't exactly moneybags from Spyro. The people most likely to benefit from this skill would have names like Atomic X160, Dell, Subscribe to Great Riek, Green Brigand, Follow Penta the North Star on Twitch, Hell on Heelys, Hollow, Kieran Morin, Lightning Bolt, Me Do a Gamer, Memi, Nember, Nevrix, Ranger Man Sam, Rory O'Carroll, Ryan Walter, Space1255, Steph D, Tato, Anti-Ginger, Brentendo11, Drew Hack, and Michael Hamilton. Ha! I don't have a way to end this guy. Urk. Expert Study. Urk gains 1.2 times experience points from doing anything. Urk was another one where it was easy to figure out what to base the skill off of. His dedication to studying, even at the cost of his health. I thought giving a small XP boost made the most sense, implying that he was learning more from combat than his allies were. While giving him this buff won't make him any closer to rivaling Pent's sheer power, it should help him be more helpful more quickly. Plus, if Genealogy of the Holy War thinks it's fine to give Paragon to a dude in the prologue, nothing I can do regarding EXP can really be considered unbalanced for this series. Rath. Lone Wolf. Rath gains 2 strength, skill, and speed if there are no allies within 3 spaces of him. Rath's backstory involves him being cast away from his clan when he was only 3 years old, forced to fend for himself. So I figured incorporating that loneliness into his skill made a lot of sense. He's gotten used to riding solo, and like the Sarah skill, this can be played around. Rath can ride up on his own to start the turn, get the buff from no one being near him, and then his allies can come up from behind him. All in all, a very simple buff with a very simple application. We don't need to be Fire Emblem Heroes levels of complex to work. Matthew, Silent Step. Enemies have a 50% chance of completely ignoring Matthew if they can attack him. Matthew, above all else, is a slippery little son of a bitch. It's hard for friend or foe alike to grab hold of him. Knowing this, I decided to make his skill all about his stealth. It's basically the Shade skill from Path of Radiance, but with a more solid percentage behind it. It won't make his lackluster combat any better, but he's a thief. If you're trying to use him for his combat, you aren't exactly using him for the right reasons anyway. All in all, a skill made to make Matthew's job just a little bit easier on him. Maybe now he can steal in that one chapter without Ursula bolting him from out of vision. Lucius, Calming Presence. If Lucius is deployed, all allies other than him gain 3 crit avoid. Lucius is a man that embodies calmness and serenity. Even the most tortured souls find comfort in his counsel. So, I decided that his presence would literally make people at ease, as if they were taking the battlefield with an angel. I opted for a small boost in crit avoid because it couldn't be a major stat since, there's no skill behind using it. Lucius simply has to be deployed, not even be near anyone. But crit avoid is a pretty nifty stat. You don't really notice that you have it, but taking out the chance for any 1% crits is something you cannot take for granted. Nils, Passion Performer. Allies Nils play for gain +1 strength, skill, and speed. This bonus increases by 1 when Nils reaches levels 5, 10, 15, and 20, capping at +5. Nils was tough to work for, as his story couldn't really be told through his skill due to the fact that it's a major spoiler for the story of the game. So instead, I opted to give him a more gameplay-oriented skill, and decided to make his level-ups mean something via buffing stats. Normally, when a dancer levels up, you're just like, oh boy, more speed and luck, which really doesn't matter because they should never be seeing combat ever anyway. This skill makes level-ups feel like something that matters, as you're getting closer to a milestone to buff more of your allies' stats. Wallace, Bull Charge. Wallace gains 5 strength and defense for 1 combat if he's the first unit to do an action on the player phase. Originally for Wallace, I wanted to incorporate the fact that he has absolutely no sense of direction into his skill, but after thinking on it, I thought his bravery and boldness were more easy to adapt into a skill, so I went with the idea of the Bald Bull's Charge. Now you'll notice that +5 is a much higher power level than the other combat skills, and that's because it's harder to pull off. You can't always guarantee that you want to move any one unit first, so I figured a higher payoff was needed for a steeper price. And that finished off Lyndis' Legion. Let me know if you enjoyed this video in the comments. I would totally be down to finish off FE7 if enough people like this. Personal skills are really cool, and I hope they make an appearance both in any remakes for older titles and new games coming out in the series later on. If you liked FE7, consider watching the randomizer I did on it. It was a ton of fun to play, and the series is complete. We want to get right to, like, Lynn being a berserker. Right? No, Lynn is Ellawood. Alright. Well, hey, at least Mark's the same.